Hello. Recently, someone from business came to me and asked to explain the contract clauses with respect to availability and subsequent penalties. The specific questions which were asked was about the numbers which were mentioned with respect to availability, essentially what those numbers mean, and how to read the availability section with respect to penalties. While I explained her how to read these numbers, I thought I would put the details on my channel as well. So here we go with the details. So what is availability? Availability is a measure of resiliency. So it means that if a system is available, that means the system is available for use. So it measures the percentage of time the software system or any service is available for use. Usually it is referred by numbers of 9. For example, 5 nines of availability is 99.999. So we can see there are 5 nines and thereby it is called 5 nines availability. We will get to know what this 99.999 actually means in detail in a little bit from now. Uptime, okay, this is another word which is used for availability. And downtime, which means unavailable or the opposite of availability. These are commonly used interchangeably. So these are the different numbers which are there. What exactly these numbers mean? If we say the availability is 90%, we say per year the downtime is 36.53 days. How do we calculate that it is 36.53? We calculate it because in a year there are 365 days. 90% availability means a 10% of downtime. So 10% of downtime will quantify to 36.5, okay, downtime. And what is 3 here? 3 is considering leap years as well. Okay, I'll explain this in more details now. We can see that 12 9 means 31.56 microseconds of unavailability during the whole year. So nowadays systems are so resilient. We have geographical resiliency which is possible. We have blue green deployments where without making the system down we can do the upgrades. So the solution development has become literally downtime free. So that's where we are able to achieve 12 nines of availability. So availability calculation. So I was just mentioning that in a year there are 365.3 days. This is actually the number of days which takes for Earth to orbit the Sun. We usually round the days to 365. To make up for the missing or partial day, what we do, we add one day to our calendar year approximately every 4 years. This is called leap year. This everybody knows. So that's where when we calculate availability, we call the number of days in a year to be 365.3. So 90%, we just saw this example earlier. 90% availability means downtime of 36.53 days, which is basically 10% of 365, which comes to 36.525, and which is essentially 36.53 days. Let's see one more example. So if it is 99.95% available, that means, and it can be 3 nines because we are seeing 3 nines availability. That means downtime of 4.38 hours. How do we arrive at this number? Exactly similar question, similar calculation. So it is 0.05% downtime of 365.25, which amounts to these many days. If you calculate, you will find that this percentage amounts to 0.18 days. Now we can easily calculate this 0.18 days to hours. How we can do it? One day has 24 hours, so this many days would have this many into 24, which is 4.383 hours. So that's how we are able to calculate the exact availability. Now, if we have hard dependencies, meaning that this is available only when this is available and this is available only when database is available. So we have this kind of software solution where we have a web service which relies on some backend microservices, which again relies on database. So we say that these have hard dependencies. Let's read the technical description. Many systems have hard dependencies on other systems where an interruption in a dependent system directly translates in a interruption of the invoking system, which means if the database is down, it directly means app services and web app are also thereby down. Where such hard dependencies occur, the invoking system's availability is the product. So it is the multiplication of the availability of dependent systems availabilities. So let's see here. So this system has this availability, this has this availability, this has this availability. So the combined availability of the software would be a product. It would be a product of dependent systems. Thereby, if we multiply, it becomes 99.939% available. So you can see it is less than the least because it's a multiplication. So it is lower than this. The availability is lower than this. Okay. So it is the product of all three availability in case of hard dependencies. So let's see how it is represented in SLAs. So in SLA, we have a contract section where we mention service level agreements. So we say that if the availability of system is less than 99.99%, for example, then there would be this much financial penalties. So these are the kind of clauses which are mentioned there. So what are the different kind of arbitration which we do with a vendor if in case the SLA is breached? So we do financial penalties, which means the vendor would have to pay us financially for the penalties if the system was down, thereby impacting the company. The vendor has to pay financial currency for making out for those failures which were seen. There could be service credits. Service credits are credit for future work, and this is not a financial, meaning that no actual funds are transferred, but still the vendor has to pay for this because implicitly they have to pay because they are giving service credits. It can also be license extension or support, which means the vendor has to extend the license of the specific solution which they are providing, or they may have to support the solution for a longer period of time. In the worst case wherein the contract is being breached for a longer period of time, the SLA is breached for a longer period of time, we do mention the contract annulment clauses also. So contract annulment basically means that the partner is eligible to annul the contract, meaning nullify the contract. So that is what is called contract annulment. So these are the different kind of clauses which are mentioned there. So I am leaving you with the detailed table where availability, downtime per year, per quarter, per month, per week, per day is mentioned with respect to different figures of nines. So 90%, it is this much days, and which amounts to per day of 2.40 hours. Same for 12 nines, it is 31.56 microseconds per year and 86.40 nanoseconds per day. So it's a reference table. With this, I'll finish this video. Thank you very much.